Hello everyone, my name is Shauna Knighton. I'm a 20-year-old social work major at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Today I'm going to talk to you about food addiction. But first, I'm sorry about the horrible film. I was recording on my phone and then it decided to stop because I did not have enough storage. But anyway, so food addiction. We tend to get cravings. The brain starts calling for these foods. Some people don't have this problem and can easily control the types of foods they eat, while other people don't seem to have any control. Oh, hold on. Despite their best intentions, they repeatedly find themselves eating unhealthy foods even when they previously decided not to. The fact is, junk foods stimulate the reward system in the brain in the same way as drugs abuse like cocaine. For vulnerable people, eating junk food can tend to lead out a full-blown addiction, which shares the same biological basis as addiction to drugs of abuse. How does food addiction work? There is a system in our brain called the reward system. This, just like I previously said, this system was designed to reward us when we do things to encourage our survival. This includes primal behaviors like eating. The brain knows when we eat, we're doing something right, and releases a bunch of feel-good chemicals in the reward system, such as neurotransmitter dopamine, interpreted by our brains as pleasure. The brain is hardwired to seek out behaviors to release the dopamine. The problem with modern junk food is that they can cause a reward that is way more powerful than anything we're ever exposed to. And sorry, I am looking at you, but I forget to have to look at the camera. Anyway, back to what we're saying. Tolerance and withdrawal. When people repeatedly do something that releases dopamine in the reward system, such as smoking a cigarette or eating that Snickers bar, the dopamine receptors can start to downregulate. When the brain sees the amount of dopamine is too high, it starts removing the dopamine receptors in order to keep things balanced. When we have fewer receptors, you need more dopamine to reach the same effect, which causes people to start eating more and more and more junk food to reach that same level as reward before. That is called tolerance. If you have fewer dopamine receptors, then you have very little dopamine activity and you'll start to feel unhappy. If you don't get your junk food fix, then that is called withdrawal. Multiple studies in rats show that they can become physically addicted to junk food in the same way they can become addicted to drugs. Of course, all this drastic oversimplification, but this is basically how food addiction or any addiction works. Said that wrong. Cravings and addiction. A craving is an emotional state. A desire to consume a certain food. It should not be confused with simple hunger. Those two things are totally different. Even though the cravings sometimes seem to come out of nowhere, they also can be turned on by triggers, which are known as cues. Like walking past an ice cream parlor or smelling that wonderful pizza, these can turn into cravings. A true craving is about satisfying the brain's need for dopamine. It has nothing to do with the body's need for energy or nourishment. When a craving occurs, it can start to dominate your attention. It can be very hard to think of something else, and it can be hard to remember why you ever decided you were going to eat that junk food. But if you find yourself repeatedly giving to cravings and eating junk food despite having made a decision not to, then that's definitely not normal, and you need to seek help. Rewards, which sometimes can turn into binges. Now you eat that particular food until your brain has received all the dopamine that it was missing. The more often you repeat the cycle and give into the craving and rewarding yourself, the stronger it becomes. The stronger it gets, and the more food you need to eat each time. It can almost be impossible to eat in moderation. When you are satisfying and addiction-driven craving, that's why it's hopeless for people to just have one small slice of cake, one piece of pizza, or one M&M. It's like telling a smoker to smoke 1/4 of a cigarette to cut back. It simply doesn't work. Now the symptoms of food addiction. 1. Cravings despite being full. Now you just downed a nice meal with steak, potatoes, and vegetables on the side, but then you find yourself craving some ice cream for dessert. 2. Eat much more than you intended to. For some people, there is no such thing as one bite of cake, one bite of chocolate, one slice of cake. One bite turns into 20, One slice of cake turns into half the cake. This is all or nothing. This is the all or nothing cessation that is common with addicts of all sorts. There is no such thing as moderation. It doesn't work. Pause. Sorry about that, I lost my page. 3. Eat until feeling excessively stuffed. You keep on eating, then you eat some more. When you finally stop when the urge is satisfied. You realize that you haven't eaten. You've realized that you've eaten so much that you're just completely stuffed, and you have that feeling in your stomach. Feeling guilty afterwards, but do it again soon. We may feel that we are doing something wrong, cheating ourselves. We shouldn't have done that. We may feel weak and undisciplined, yet we repeat the whole thing over and over and over and over again. 5. Sorry about that. 5. Making up excuses in your head. At these moments, you start thinking about whether you should or should not indulge. You may come up with some excuse of why it would be a good idea to give in to the craving and have that piece of food. 6. Repeated failure at setting rules for yourself. When people are struggling with self-control in one way or another, they often set rules for themselves. An example is only sleep on weekends, always do your homework right after school, and never drink coffee after 2 p.m. Does anybody follow those rules? 7. Hiding your consumption from others. People may prefer to eat alone when no one else is at home, or alone in the car, or late night after everyone else has gone to bed. 8. Unable to quit despite physical problems. In the short term, junk food can lead to weight gain, acne, bad breath, fatigue, poor dental health, and among other common problems. But in long term, after years and years of continued abuse to our bodies, things can go really, really wrong. Over time, addiction can cause severe physical and psychological problems. Many people who have been struggling with food addiction for a long time can start hiding their consumption from others, can suffer from depression, and have a severely broken self-esteem. This is composed by the fact that most people don't even realize that they're addicted to food and simply think they're weak and undisciplined. If you're addicted to food addiction, what can you do about it? Unfortunately, there's no easy solution to addiction. There is no supplement, mental trick, or magical solution out there. Whereas some people may need to learn how to control their consumptions, it may be best for others to avoid these foods completely. If you have struggled with food addiction, then it may be best to seek professional help. Psychiatrists and psychologists can help. There are also other organizations like OA, which is Overeaters Anonymous, which anyone can join for free. Binge eating disorder is currently classified as an eating disorder in DSM-V, the official manual that mental health professionals use to define mental disorders. Some treatments. 1. Overeater Anonymous. 2. Grave Cheaters Anonymous. 3. Psychologists and cognitive behavioral therapy. 4. Psychiatrists and drug therapy. 5. Commercial treatment programs around the world. 6. ACORN, which is ACORN, offers several treatment options, mostly in the United States. Milestones in Recovery, that's located in Florida, and they offer long-term treatment for food addicts. COR Retreat, located in Minnesota, offers a 5-day program. The Turning Point, that's in Tampa, Florida. They have options for food addicts and people with eating disorders. Shades of Hope, that's located in Texas, and they offer both a 6-day and a 42-day program. And again, my name is Shauna Knighton. I talked about food addiction today, and if you're seeking help, please go to one of the treatments that I listed below and find your help. Thank you, and you have a good night.